Chip stocks losing some steam today as the Nasdaq rolls over earlier gains, giving up some of those earlier gains on that softer than expected manufacturing data. Now, today's move to the downside, what you are seeing play out within the chip sector, follows yesterday's risk on rally. Actually, looking at yesterday's move, the chip sector recorded its largest single-day gain in 14 months. Who led the charge? Well, it's none other than Nvidia. We want to bring in Paul Meeks. He joins us now. He's Harvest Portfolio Management's co-chief investment officer. Paul, it's great to talk to you again. So we're seeing a bit of a give back following yesterday's gains. Nothing necessarily to get too worried about, I don't think, up until this point. I'm curious, though, what you make about the sentiment, the narrative surrounding these chip makers, and whether or not some of the developments that we've seen this week makes it more likely that we are going to see another leg higher.
I actually think we will see another leg higher, but even in my own tech portfolio, I have a prohibition right now on new buying, at least till we get through this very weird and squirrely earnings season. Because as we've gone through this earnings season, some companies are posting pretty strong results. Whenever a company posts earnings, there's always going to be a couple flies in the ointment. I mean, that's to be expected. But companies that have had good things to say, sometimes their stocks go down the next day. So it's just too difficult of a market. I plan to add to my favorite AI infrastructure plays, which would be some of these semiconductor names, data networking companies, and data server companies, but only till we get through the end of this reporting season. Give me about 2 weeks.
Okay, well, a lot of follow-up questions potentially off of that, Paul, but I want to start on whether or not you think come Nvidia earnings, given the beats that we've seen from the likes of Meta, Microsoft, Alphabet, and Amazon, all of those make up 40% of Nvidia's revenue. I know we're still waiting on that last name. Given that we've seen those positive earnings from some of those names so far, do you think you'll regret not buying Nvidia when they're likely to have a good quarter based on that?
I think I may regret it, but I have such a large position and I've held it so long at such a lower cost basis, I'm pleased to wait. But you think about it, all of their customers, the hyperscalers, we're now through all of their quarterly reports. And the only thing that was not controversial at all was how much damn money they're going to spend on AI CapEx. And so unless they're lying about their capital expenditures are high and potentially even rising into 2025. So this bodes incredibly well for Nvidia. And Nvidia is trading at 31 times next year's earnings. It's not egregiously expensive. So I plan to, when the stock settles and or we get through their report on August 28th, you know what? I'll probably.
Following Tuesday's market close, Microsoft, NASDAQ, MSFT released its fiscal 2024 fourth quarter results, which likely disappointed a lot of investors. The IT behemoth's cloud revenue fell short of Wall Street's projections. Its shares opened down on Wednesday as a result, but other investors were pleased with Microsoft's most recent quarterly report, including shareholders of Nvidia. This is the reason Microsoft recently gave Nvidia some positive news. During the company's fiscal Q4 conference call, Microsoft officials talked a lot about businesses that were seeing rapid development. Revenue from Azure and other cloud services increased by 29% in the past year. Customers for multi-cloud and hybrid Azure Arc management increased by 90%. Azure AI's client base grew by about 60%. The number of Copilot users rose by over 60%. The ongoing high demand for artificial intelligence, AI, goods and services is the driving force behind all of this progress. Microsoft does not see a decline in this demand. During the conference call, CEO Satya Nadella announced that the business has expanded its data center portfolio, citing the additions as nonetheless. Amy Hood, CFO of Microsoft, explained the financial effects of this AI-driven appetite. In Q4 of its fiscal year, the corporation spent $19 billion on capital projects, she mentioned. Microsoft's expenditure climbed dramatically over the entire year. Here's the most crucial section, Hood remarked. We will scale our infrastructure investments with FY25 capital expenditures estimated to be greater than FY24 in order to satisfy the growing demand signal for our AI and cloud solutions. Microsoft's already enormous capital expenditures will rise even faster. Hood said, given our cloud and AI demand, as well as current AI capacity constraints, we expect capital expenditures to increase sequentially. Hood spoke on Microsoft's increased capital spending, but she left out Nvidia. She didn't have to, though. That being said, Nvidia should be pleased with what she did say. Hood clarified that in the most recent quarter, infrastructure, more particularly the construction and leasing of data centers, accounted for around half of capital expenditures. According to her, servers use the remaining half mostly for CPUs and GPUs. It is not a given that CPUs and GPUs will receive the same portion of the additional spending. Hood added that we've been investing in CPUs for a while now, but Microsoft has the ability to reduce that expenditure. There's a good chance that GPU spending will exceed CPU spending. It's not up to us to speculate as to who Microsoft's expanded GPU investments will primarily benefit. One of Nvidia's largest clients is Microsoft. That is not going to alter. Not a single official from Microsoft mentioned Nvidia's upcoming Blackwell GPU architecture. It's likely, though, that a portion of Microsoft's higher capital expenditures will be used to purchase the potent new Blackwell-based CPUs. With Blackwell, Nvidia is well positioned to maintain its hegemony in the GPU industry. According to the business, compared to its prior Hopper design, the Blackwell architecture can allow the construction and operation of trillion-parameter large language models, LLMs, at up to 25 times lower cost and energy consumption. According to CEO Jensen Huang, Blackwell is likely going to be the company's most successful product ever. Several prominent figures in AI, including Microsoft, have already committed to utilizing Blackwell. We are committed to offering our customers the most advanced infrastructure to power their AI workloads, Nadella stated in a press statement from Nvidia announcing Blackwell. Nvidia is well positioned to maintain its hegemony in the GPU industry. With all these developments under consideration and analyst predictions, we'll talk about target projections and advice in today's video, so make sure not to miss out. However, before you do, if you'd like to stay up to date on Nvidia's most recent updates and the most recent news from the stock market, you can subscribe to our channel. We publish daily updates about the biggest shifts in market catalysts, so click the bell icon button to ensure you don't miss the most recent updates. All right, back to today's video.
Nvidia shares climbing higher once again today. The stock soared yesterday, adding $327 billion to its market cap. It was driven higher by strong results from competitor AMD. Now, despite the recent rally, though, Nvidia shares are still sitting roughly 13% below their all-time high. Joining us now for where Nvidia and some of its competitors are headed, we want to bring in Stacy Raskin. He's Bernstein's managing director and senior analyst. Stacy, it's great to talk to you again. So it looks like a lot of that excitement has now returned. I'm curious, do you think there's been just this shift in sentiment following AMD's results that we got yesterday?
So I don't actually think it was about AMD's results. I think it's about the CapEx guides we're seeing from lots of the hyperscalers, Microsoft and Meta and Google. All of those CapEx outlooks look very supportive, like we're starting to see those numbers continue to go up. And I think that's what's been driving the AI trade. I actually don't think really it was AMD's results. AMD's results were not bad necessarily. They took their own AI guidance up a little bit, but I don't think they took it up any more than people thought they were going to. I don't think it was above where people thought.
So Stacy, then given that CapEx guide that we are getting from some of these hyperscalers, what does that tell us just about the opportunity, the upside here that we are potentially seeing for these chip makers?
Well, I mean, look, for companies like these, I mean, some of the numbers are very large, right? As you're looking forward in terms of where expectations are. And you know, the hyperscalers, they're big customers. They're doing a lot of that spending. And so you do want to see those numbers go up. This was a concern if you go back, I don't know, a quarter or two ago. There was a big mismatch at that point between like where the CapEx outlook was at the time and a lot of these AI names. And we've continued to see the CapEx guides actually go up materially. I think even Meta reported last night, and not only did they take their CapEx guide for the year, they said that they're going to have like probably substantial increases next year. And so I think that's really what's important. The big worry that people have is just, is there an air pocket like coming? There's so much spending going on. The numbers have gotten so big so quickly. People worry about sustainability. And what we've been hearing from some of the customers is it looks like that spend, at least for now, is sustaining. I think that's what's been driving things.
And so, Stacy, as we think about growing into some of these valuations, I mean, what are these companies going to have to show that they can do in order to grow into the lofty numbers as we've been discussing?
Well, I mean, so be careful. Like lofty numbers, lofty valuations are two different things. Not all of these companies are expensive, right? You can look at a company like Nvidia. It's actually quite a bit cheaper today than it was before the run started, a year and a half ago. Because as much as the stock has gone up, the earnings estimates have gone up far more than that. And so that becomes the question: like, are the earnings actually achievable? I mean, they need to clearly the numbers need to go up. I mean, I would say that, given where the sell side numbers are, the buy side numbers are going to be even higher than that. And so any kind of increases we can see to customer spending, any sort of clarity we can get on business models, what are they actually doing with this spend is helpful. And I would say, at least in the near term, what we're hearing from that supply chain and from the customers is constructive.
Nancy Pelosi, the representative for California's 11th congressional district, made some noteworthy stock market purchases, according to a recent congressional trade report. Two noteworthy transactions involving Microsoft Corporation and NVIDIA Corporation were noted in the study. Pelosi made a partial sale of her Microsoft stock for a total transaction value of $1 million and $5 million. A total of 5,000 shares were sold. The report states that on July 26, 2024, this transaction took place. Pelosi made a big investment in Nvidia shares that same day. Additionally, the investment, which consisted of 10,000 shares overall, was valued between $1 million and $1 and $5 million. Common stocks, a sort of investment that signifies ownership in a company and a claim on a portion of the company's assets and profits, were involved in both deals. The precise account type that Pelosi utilized for these purchases was not disclosed in the congressional trade report. To the best of the filer's knowledge and belief, the document did, however, attest to the truthfulness, completeness, and accuracy of every assertion included in the report. Pelosi has also attested to having declared every transaction in accordance with the Stock Act. Members of Congress' stock transactions are frequently closely watched by investors because they can reveal information about future patterns in the market. It's crucial to keep in mind, though, that these deals might not always represent a larger plan or an assessment of how these businesses will perform going forward. So what does this really mean for Nvidia's stock? Let's find out. But first, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video. AI remains worth watching segment for global investors in 2024. But how do you keep up with the AI sector and others that you may be interested in? I recommend trying Moomoo, a sponsor of today's video. Some features to discover stocks with investment potential has blown me away. You can use the industry chain to find companies throughout the entire AI sector, or use the stock screener to filter stocks according to your investment strategy. Having the option to set parameters like industry, market indicators, financial indicators, technical indicators, and more. Ultimately, discover potentially undervalued stocks and those that appear to show buy signals to help inform your strategies in an effort to capitalize on AI-related opportunities. At the same time, Moomoo is one of the cheapest trading platforms I've found. It offers zero commission on stocks, options, and ETFs. After comparisons, I've discovered the fees are among the lowest. Right now, new users who open an account using my link and make a qualified deposit can get up to 15 free stocks, enjoy a limited time 8.1% APY on idle cash for 3 months, and earn up to $300 cash reward for transferring in their portfolio. These rewards can be earned together, so don't miss out. And thanks again to Moomoo for sponsoring this portion of the video.
So I plan to, when the stock settles, and/or we get through the report on August 28th, you know what? I'll probably buy some more.
Well, I'm curious because you mentioned NVIDIA a lot. We all do, right? Just because it's so dominant within this space. We did see a lot to like in AMD's report. When we look at that roadmap ahead, is there an opportunity for AMD, for some of these other chip makers, to close that leadership gap that we have seen for so long from NVIDIA?
I think that they may close the leadership gap a bit, but not significantly. I mean, take a look at AMD. Yes, when they reported the other day, they moved their guidance from $4 billion in AI chips this year to $4.5 billion. In the prior quarter, they went from 3.5 to 4, but it's still going to be a sliver, an absolute sliver of what NVIDIA is going to do. So over time, the pie will get bigger. I still think that NVIDIA will have most of the slices. And AMD, hey, it's a strong, well-managed company under Dr. Lisa Su. They'll be a good second supplier. But NVIDIA will have a hold on this market for as far as the...
There are two very distinct approaches to investing in the artificial intelligence, AI, market expansion, NVIDIA and C3.ai. For processing complicated AI activities, NVIDIA is the leading global provider of data center GPUs, and C3.ai creates AI algorithms that can optimize, speed, and automate tasks for large enterprises. However, during the previous 3 years, the stock of NVIDIA increased by 480%, while the stock of C3 decreased by almost 50%. NVIDIA's rapidly increasing sales of GPUs for data centers stunned the bulls, but as the company's losses mounted and sales growth slowed, C3 lost its appeal. Will NVIDIA continue to perform better than C3 in the near future? The biggest manufacturer of discrete GPUs for PCs and servers worldwide is NVIDIA. Its data center GPU segment is now its largest and fastest growing company, having previously made the majority of its revenue from gaming PCs due to the AI market's explosive growth. In the most recent quarter, data center chips accounted for 87% of the company's revenue. According to Tech Insights and JPR, NVIDIA holds a 98% market share in the data center GPU segment and 88% in the discrete GPU segment overall. The corporation should continue to be the cornerstone of the AI industry thanks to its market domination. In the fiscal year 2023, NVIDIA's revenue growth stagnated as the worldwide PC market outpaced its pandemic-induced surge. However, when the market's demand for the company's AI chips outpaced supply, its sales skyrocketed 126% in the company's fiscal year 2024. In the fiscal year 2025, analysts project a further 98% increase in NVIDIA's revenue. According to generally accepted financial standards, GAAP, NVIDIA is continuously profitable, whereas C3.ai is accumulating large GAAP and non-GAAP losses. In the first quarter of 2024, C3.ai retracted its initial goals of turning a profit on a non-GAAP basis in order to increase its research and development, as well as marketing expenditures in novel generative AI technologies. Analysts predict that NVIDIA's EPS will increase by 109% in fiscal 2025 on a non-GAAP basis. However, as it increases its AI expenditures, they anticipate that C3.ai's non-GAAP net loss would increase this year. In light of its projected growth rates in the foreseeable future, NVIDIA's current trading price of 43 times forecast earnings appears fair. With a far slower growth rate, AMD, its primary rival, only has a little lower forward multiple of 41. It's simple to understand why NVIDIA performed better than C3.ai. It has a considerably broader moat, is bigger, is growing quicker, and is more lucrative. These advantages ought to raise its stock price and enable it to beat C3.ai going forward. With all of these considerations, NVIDIA is unquestionably a great buy, especially if you're looking to invest for the long term because the company hasn't reached its full potential yet. What do you think about NVIDIA stock? Is it a good buy at the current price? Please share your opinions with us in the comments section, and don't forget to let us know what you think NVIDIA is worth. If you're interested in learning what other companies, like NVIDIA, have been up to lately, click on the next video on your screen. We'll see you there.